make remote collaboration feel as intuitive as working in the same room. Welcome to this stage, Jonas, Rajanto.
Thank you. I have some props for later. Yeah, I noticed right away. All right, hi everyone. It's nice to see a lot of faces here. Who's traveled here today from another city? Can you raise your hand? Okay, quite a few. Who's traveled here from abroad today? From outside Finland? Few. All right, thanks for making it all this way. I have one more question before I start. Who here loves meetings? I didn't expect to see too many hands. Is there anyone who hates meetings? Yeah, okay, I guess as much. They are really opinion-inducing. Some people love them, some people hate them, and it often depends on who runs the meeting and how it's run. Okay, so let's talk about what virtual reality means for collaboration. It's already been mentioned a few times today. I'm going to delve a bit deeper into maybe the psychological part. And then, if the stars are aligned, we can get a demo, a live demo as well. Let's see if this is going to work or not. Right, so who is this guy? I can tell you that the reason I'm here is because of video games. When I was 8 years old, I wished for a Sega for my birthday. I got it, and it was the best day of my life. Until that point. But it meant a lot to me, and the next several years were spent hoarding, getting my hands on as many games as possible. There was something important in this that started to dwell in my mind. I could see the possibilities in life through the things that games showed me. So I spent way too much time gaming when I was a teenager, to the detriment of my mom. But then, this guy, about 10 years old, was all about games. This guy, about 30 years old, was all about tech. So it did become a career, and my mom is now maybe feels better about my spending all that time on the computer. Even though I was called a nerd in school, and it was not a positive term back in the day, today it actually is. But what we do is face-to-face interaction. That's our specialty. So if you get people together in a room, how do you make sure they're all focused? How do you make sure everyone is present? How do you make sure it feels like a meaningful meeting and not a boring meeting? A boring meeting means I have no role in it. I play no purpose in the big picture. And we try to change that so that everyone who attends has a purpose. Okay, so what I do then is somewhere in between, right? They hired a tech guy because clients were asking for more and more and more remote meetings. Like, how do we do the same things that you do in the room? It feels magical, but how do I do this in Skype? And it's a very different question, and there are very different solutions to how to do that. The principles are the same, and the goals are the same, but the people are mostly in my head. If I have a big group online, we can't use video. I can't look at 15 video pictures at once. It doesn't mean anything to me. One person at a time means something, and maybe 2 or 3 people in a video. But as soon as we have a large group, it loses its meaning. And so we look at something else, shared content, the shared purpose. And the people are kind of just in my imagination for a while. So this is virtual facilitation, and I guess I would call this interaction through screens. That's what I do most of my days. And then there's the next step. But first, let's talk about the problem with my job right now. The thing is, what we do as facilitators is we build trust. And it's very difficult to trust someone you don't see. You want to be able to read their body language. Like me right now. If I'm on stage like this, it means something. If I'm on stage like this, it means something else. And if I'm talking to a person and I'm leaning forward, it means one thing. And then if I'm kind of like, you can instantly say something about whether I'm trusting you, trusting the situation, trusting the big goal that we have. So what we do as facilitators, face-to-face, is we create a space where there are no obstructions. We can see each other clearly, everyone's body language, and we have eye contact. We also make sure that everyone can see the goal and the progress. We make it visible at the very start of whatever meeting or workshop we're going to have, and then we engage people. This is the purpose of today. Why don't you talk for 2 minutes in pairs about the purpose of today, and then I'll just make sure that we are in agreement about the purpose of the session. So we spend 2 minutes, maybe another 2 minutes. I ask people to say something, and then I write it down on a flip chart. It's like, all right, no more questions. Now I trust a bit more that the people think this is going to be a good day. We also do make sure people have lots of space to work in. They can get up, they can move around, use methods like think, pair, and share, which makes sure everyone has time to think for themselves. I'm sure there's more than one introvert in the room today. People who do not like lively discussions where you have to fight to get a voice, so you appreciate time to think for yourself first. Maybe 30 seconds, or maybe a minute, or maybe 2 minutes. Then we talk in pairs or groups of 3, like in this photo, and then we share with the entire group. We also mix the groups so that we try to build trust over time. So by the end of the day, even though the people were strangers to you at first, you now feel a connection, you feel like you can trust them, and we're ready to collaborate. But then, we have Skype. Or, take anything, Teams, Hangouts, Zoom, you name it. And you're usually met with a black screen, no photo, you have no view of the others. Maybe they're all in the participant list. If you're lucky and everyone participates from their own computer, and there's not like, yeah, there's 4 guys here between one computer, or behind one computer, is that okay? Well, it's not ideal, I can survive with it, but what if I have 10 participants, and I can only see 6 in the participant list? How do I remember the rest? I can't sense the other's presence. If we have video on, it helps a lot, but often we can't have video on for one reason or another. Maybe it's a bad network connection. Maybe someone doesn't want to use a camera. Someone has a desktop computer and simply does not have a camera. So we can't always use video, and very often we don't have the goal visible. We're unsure what the goal is, and we can't sense progress either. Well, you can do things differently in remote meetings. This is my day job. So I tell people to use introduction slides like this. There's the title, there's the purpose, there's the objectives of the session. Here you can see the roles. I'm the trainer, Bettina here is moderating today, and we have an audience of hopefully active participants. So I say this right up front, I expect participation today. I've already said it in the invitation. Or maybe there's an all-hands meeting of one department, and then it's in teams. So here's the schedule. There's 10 minutes to sign in, then we begin. We do a sound check, say hi to the others, and then I instruct people to go to the all-hands team and write an emoji story every weekend in the chat. And then I ask a few people to tell me, what is your story? What is your story? How has your day gone? And hopefully that gets the remote meeting started in a different way. But let's jump to the topic of today. So this new way of interacting is now then interacting in virtual space. And it's much more similar to face-to-face meetings than remote meetings today, because we have body language again. Everyone has a position in the virtual space again. Because my hands are tracked, because I'm holding controllers, or maybe I won't need controllers in the future. My hands are tracked, and my head position is tracked. I have huge range of body language back again. Like, we can shake hands, we can do high fives, we can do fist bumps. My body language is kind of visible, even though it's only a part. You can't see my facial expression, but you can hear changes in my voice a bit better, because also the sound is spatial. So if someone is speaking to my right, I can tell, look at that person. And then I can give speaking turns the same way as face-to-face by pointing to a person. How about you? How about you? So, body language is back. And this is huge for building that trust. There are a few players that I've gotten to know in the recent year or two. One of them is meetingroom.io, based in Ireland. One of them is Meet in VR, based in Denmark. And then we have our own Finnish Glue. And all of these are ready to test right now, today, if you have a Quest or any VR headset. So I suggest you get in touch with all of those developers, test their products, and get a feel for what it feels like to collaborate with someone in VR. I think it's amazingly different, and my level of building trust is completely different than in a video meeting. Oh, and one more thing. Of course, the significance for this is that if now we need to have a 2-day strategy session, everyone is going to fly to the same location, because we don't really trust that we can have a good enough level of collaboration and trust and mutual understanding so that we can have a productive strategy session using it remotely. But if we have the right tools and of course the right skills, then we can replace many workshops that now need face-to-face interaction. And so we can reduce travel, and it's not just the money cost of travel, and it's not just because of a certain virus that we can't travel. It's a huge cost also emotionally. It costs me the travel plus recovery from the travel. If I have to change time zones, there's jet lag, and so on. And I have to make arrangements in my private life. I mean, it's great to be in Oulu. I don't travel often because of my job. I don't need to travel very often, so I enjoy it. But if I had to travel every week or every month, I would not like to. So these are some of the tools that I use today. And the message here from me is that remote collaboration tools have never been in as good a shape as they are today. But VR is a big paradigm shift in how we can collaborate without traveling. And you can start harnessing it today. So this guy still lives somewhere in here and sees all of the possibilities. There are huge obstacles still that need to be solved so that everyone can participate in VR workshops, trainings, meetings. But I do believe that with the right tech and the right skills, we can solve even the hardest problems in the world, and we need to. Climate change was mentioned today. It's just one of many problems that we need to solve, and we need to be able to collaborate well across businesses. It's time for a demo. Let's see how we're on schedule. Pretty good. About a 10-minute demo, and if there are any of the volunteers in the audience right now, are they?
They are already.
They're, okay, great.
They know.
So I'm going to turn off my mic, I'm going to put on the headset, I'm going to move into VR, and then we'll do a 10-minute workshop demo in VR. Let's keep our fingers crossed that tech is working. One more thing. If you could please turn off the Wi-Fi on your phone. If your phone is currently connected to Wi-Fi, please turn it off just to make sure that we have all the available bandwidth for our demo. It would be a shame if the demo didn't work because of Wi-Fi congestion.
Give me a nod, Jonas, when you are in.
Okay, just a second. I can hear my voice from the speakers with a slight delay. So I may be a bit distracted, but don't let that disturb you. Okay, so let's see. That's Yanni. So I can wave to the audience from VR. Hello. Okay, so welcome to our little workshop demo. We have a couple of people from Blue here, and we have a couple of guests from the event. Let's see. I see VR Nordic Visitor and guest O. Could I hear your names, please? What's your name?
My name is Pekka.
Hi, Pekka. I see you have undergone a quick sex change during the break.
Yeah, that's right.
But that's okay. We don't discriminate. So you're Pekka. Great. And you are?
My name is Sylvie.
All right.
You hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. That's quite well. And we have Tommy, right?
Hi there. How you doing?
And Johan.
Oh, hello.
Excellent. Okay, so we have a short workshop demo with a few stages. Let's start by going over to the icebreaker. Sorry. I'm getting messed up with my own demo. Here we go. Stage right. Let me pick up the file. There we go. Loading. Loading. Okay, I think we're getting, yes, here we go. Yep. There is my example workshop agenda. So the topic is remote working, surprise, surprise. The objective of our workshop is to come up with solutions, how to improve the remote working experience. And in order for us to discuss that, we need to have several stages and several hours of time with a few breaks. We're not going to do the whole workshop, obviously. We're just going to do the very beginning, and we'll do that by going over to the icebreaker whiteboard over there. So if you could please teleport your way over to the icebreaker. All right. So how is this going to work? There's a line here. One end has a green ball of yarn. The other end has a red ball. The question is, how was your morning commute? So how was your trip to the venue, or if you're in Helsinki, how was your trip to work this morning? If it was great, you can go to this end. If you think it was very, very troubling, very challenging, you can go to this end or somewhere in between. So pick a spot on the line to answer the question, how was your morning commute?
I guess I'll be about.
Okay. Oh, 1, 2. Did we lose sound?
Yeah, small glitch.
Okay, we have a small glitch. We lost the sound in the showroom. On the line like it did last time. We are still missing one participant. Nope. She's back. She's back. You were Pekka, right?
Yes, that's right.
Almost there. Almost there. All right. While she gets ready, let me ask Johan. So how was your morning commute?
I have to admit it was a bit stressful. Classic situation, taking children to the kindergarten, and so commute was a bit stressful.
All right. Well, we've all had those mornings. What about Tommy?
I think I had a pretty nice commute. I walked to the office like I usually do if I'm not remoting, about 3 kilometers through the Helsinki center. Why I think it wasn't perfect, there was a little bit of a drizzle when I was walking, so not a real rain, but like not the perfect weather, but otherwise really nice. I tend to wake up pretty well and when I walk to the office.
Nice. I can relate to that. I forgot to take the spot on the line myself, but I had a really nice walk from the hotel to this venue. which was a different hotel. Very nice morning in Oulu, nice weather to walk in.
Okay, so what about Pekka? How was your morning review? Oh, we lost sound again. All right.
Yeah, unfortunately, the Wi-Fi connection on the stage is not best possible one.
All right. I'm afraid we have to cut the demo short. We have to make time for Q&A.
Thank you, Jonas. Questions from the audience? Wasn't that something? Who would like to have a meeting like that?
You can all try out Glue in the demo area, or there's a workshop at 3 where you can come talk to me. I'll be there from 3 to 4. If you want to talk about remote meetings, workshops, interaction, Glue, anything.
So true. This workshop happening in Linna-kabinetti. When you step out from this hall, you're able to see the signs already. But I'll give you heads up for that when the workshop is actually starting. But now, questions from the audience. Yes, please.
Thank you very much for the presentation. I totally believe that in 5 years this is going to happen, even though we're not so we're skeptic at the moment. But I would like to discuss with you about the human contact in VR and face-to-face meetings, because from a user experience point of view and from my point of view right now, I think that's the biggest challenge. How are you going to tackle that? How are you going to enable the eye contact in VR and face-to-face meeting and facilitation?
Right. Well, I think part of the answer is you don't need to get a fully realistic connection. Like, you can make the connection. Body language itself does so much. Like, I noticed the difference when you're teleporting around and you teleport in the same spot as someone else is. You react the same way as you would react if you walked into someone. So if I walked into Nina now, I'd be like, sorry. And you do that instinctively. And so everything we do, just mapping the head and hand movements, if I'm like this, or like this, or like this, everything builds that trust. And eye contact doesn't have to be real. I don't have to see your real eyes, but the fact that you keep looking in my direction when I'm speaking, and then when someone else's turn comes, everyone turns that way, you have the same feeling of attention that everyone wants to hear what I have to say. That's enough to build that sense of human connection. I think one other important aspect is how easy is it to speak freely. Right now in remote meetings, you have to control how you speak. So you have to give very specific turns. But in VR, it's much easier for someone to say, hey, I want to say something. Like, there's a visual cue that someone's raising their hand, you can react to that. Or you hear the and it comes from a certain direction. And in current remote meetings, all of the sound seems to come from within your head, and you feel like you're going crazy if 2 or 3 people try to speak at once. It's like, I have no idea how I'm going to react to this. But in VR, because it's spatial, it's a lot easier. So all of those build towards this sense of I'm really there with the others, really there.